Hello team, I hope you're all well. Today we are going to go through a collection of 15 books that I wish I'd gotten to that came out in 2021. Now, there's no particular order to this. There's no particular reason why I didn't get a chance to get to these books. I just didn't pick them up. But I am hoping some of these you will have already seen on my top 10 priority TBR for 2022, which I will leave a link to up here. But I'm hoping to get to all of these in 2022, fingers crossed. But quite a lot of them are on that list. However, this is not a repeat of that list. This is just a bunch of books that came out in 2021 that I wish I'd gotten to and prioritised a little bit more. I just didn't. So, without further ado, let's get into it. There is a mix here of romance, sci-fi, fantasy, middle grade, a whole bunch of books. So without further ado, let's get into them. If any of these are part of series, I will not be reading the synopsis off the back of the series. I will just try and remember what has happened in the series so far. But yeah, otherwise let's get into it. So the first book on here is Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell. It's a sci-fi that is based on rebellious royals, political alliances, a galactic empire on the brink of civil war. I believe it's queer as well. So I am still really interested in this one, and I do wish I picked it up because I believe that this is fantastic. I've heard nothing but good reviews about this one. So I'm hoping to get to it in the year of 2022. The Iskat Empire rules its vassal planets through a system of treaties. So when Prince Tam, key figure in a political alliance, is killed, a replacement must be found. His widower, Janan, is rushed into an arranged marriage with the disreputable aristocrat Keem, in a bid to keep raising hostilities between the two worlds under control. But Prince Tam's death may not have been an accident, and when Janan himself is suspected, he and Keem must navigate the perils of the Iskat court, solve a murder and prevent any interplanetary war. It sounds so interesting. I love that there is politics in this, it's sci-fi, there's an element of like a war, it's queer, so much going on in here, and I do wish I'd picked it up. So I do hope that I can pick this one up in the year of 2022 and prioritise it a little bit more, but we will see. Fingers crossed that that's the case. Then we have one that has come out in the latter end of the year, so there is good enough reason why I haven't picked it up, but I am looking forward to getting to it in 2022. I'm hoping so anyway, and that is Iron Widow by Zoran J. Zhao. I love this edition. Again, it is an Illumicrate edition, so it's got gorgeous stenciled edges, and it does have a signed book plate, and underneath the dust jacket it does look like this with some artwork as well, which is absolutely stunning. So a gorgeous edition from Illumicrate. We got this in one of the very latest boxes. Actually, it might have been the September or October box if I remember correctly, possibly even November. But what really pulls me into this is that it's been compared to The Handmaid's Tale meets Pacific Rim in this dazzling blend of Chinese history and mecha science fiction. I am so here for anything that's compared to Pacific Rim, so if you have any recommendations, drop them down below. I read Hard Reboot earlier on this year by Django Wexler, and it was fantastic. The perfect mix of Pacific Rim and real steel. So I love anything that's compared to Pacific Rim. This was not on my radar at all until I read that. So I'm very excited about this one, but this one says, you've been living a dream for long enough. Welcome to your nightmare. The boys of Huaxia dream of the celebrity status that comes with piloting crystallizes. Giant transforming robots that battle the aliens beyond the Great Wall. Their female co-pilots are expected to serve as concubines and sacrifice their lives. When 18-year-old Zetian offers herself up as a concubine pilot, her plan is to assassinate the ace male pilot responsible for her sister's death. But on miraculously emerging from the cockpit unscathed after her first battle, she is declared an Iron Widow, the most feared pilot of all. Now that Zetian has a taste of the power, she sets her sights on bigger things. The time has come to stop more girls from being sacrificed. This definitely does sound like Pacific Rim. I haven't read or watched The Handmaid's Tale, so I'm not sure if it is similar to that, but I am very excited about this one, especially with the comparison to Pacific Rim, so I am here for it, but hoping to get to this one in 2022 as well, as is the same with all of these books. Then we have the third and final in a series which I have been loving. The first in this series was my favourite book of 2019, if I remember correctly. And this one is A Vow So Bold and Deadly by Bridget Kemmerer, which is the Cursebreaker series. This is the third and final book in this series, and I have not picked this up yet, and I'm mad at myself. Not only that, but her next book has come out now, Defy the Night. Again, another one I'd wish I'd got to, but not as much as this one. So this is the third and final book in a Beauty and Beast retelling. At least the first book is a Beauty and Beast retelling. We kind of go off piste with that a little bit as we get into the second book, Heart So Fierce and Broken. But this is following Harper and Prince Ren. We're also following Grey, who is a guard for Prince Ren. So very similar to the Beauty and Beast retelling, Prince Ren has been put under a curse. The only person that kind of is left working with him is Grey, for reasons that you find out throughout the book. Harper is just a girl that lives in the States somewhere, and she ends up being transported to this other world, essentially, where she ends up meeting Prince Ren. And that's the story, essentially. Is disability rep in this series, and I love that rep. I think it's fantastic. I think it's very, very well done, and I do love this series. I wasn't as much of a fan as Heart So Fierce and Broken, following Grey and also Leah Mara, but I am looking forward to finding out what happens next, because we were left on a really, really, really big cliffhanger in A Heart So Fierce and Broken. So I do really want to get to this one, and I'm hoping that I can do so soon. Fingers crossed with that, because I would like to finish the series out. I am considering rereading them, but I have read A Curse So Dark and Lonely twice already now, so we'll see how I feel as I get to it. But yeah, I do want to finish the series out and read A Vow So Bold and Deadly. Then we have Shadowgast by Thomas Taylor, which is the third in a series by Thomas Taylor. This is the Aerion Sea mystery series. The first one being Malamander and the second one being Gargantus. I gave them both 4 stars. I think I really love this series. We're following Herbie Lemon and also Violet Palmer. And basically in the first one, Herbie Lemon works in the lost and found section of a hotel, where Violet Palmer ends up finding herself and she cannot find her parents. She becomes ever more concerned, and they end up trying to figure out what has happened. And there are different mysteries going on in each book. So in the first one there were these monkeys, and in the second one, I think, if I'm correct in saying that, in the second one there was a storm. So I really do enjoy this series. It's very, very good, and I would recommend. I believe this isn't the third and final book in the series. I think there's going to be another one, if I am correct in saying so. Yes, enjoyed Shadowgast. Festagrim is going to be the next one, so I'm really looking forward to that, and I cannot wait to pick this one up. I do wish I'd gotten to it during Believeathon, but I did hit a bit of a slump, had a hard time through the back end of November as well with life, so I am looking forward to picking this one up, hopefully at some point in 2022. Carrying on with the middle grade, I also have Rainbow Grey by Laura Ellen Anderson. I have loved all of Laura Ellen Anderson's Amelia Fang books, really enjoyed them, and I was really looking forward to this one. This is the Waterstones Gorgeous Sprayed Edges edition, and it's absolutely stunning, and I'm so excited. The second one of this comes out next year, and I'm really, really hyped. So it's just gorgeously illustrated. Laura does the most all the time with her books, and I'm obsessed, and I really wish I'd had a chance to pick this one up again in November for Believeathon. On the back it says, Rainbow Grey, the world needs a rainbow like never before. 10-year-old Ray Grey wishes she had magic like her friends. Life in the Weatherlands just isn't the same without it. But then a forbidden trip to Earth turns everything. Ray thought she knew about herself upside down. Ray must dig deep to find her inner power, battle new enemies, and let her true colours shine. I just really can't wait to pick this one up. I think it's going to be fantastic. I've heard nothing but great things. Look at this cat cloud. Do you need anything else in life than a cat cloud? I don't think you do. Very excited to pick this one up, hopefully in 2022, and finally get to it. I may wait until closer to the time of when Rainbow Grey 2 comes out, and then I can binge the pair of them, but we'll see nearer the time. Another middle grade one is Root Magic by Eden Royce, which I've heard really good things for, and I believe it was up for one of the awards for middle grade as well, I believe. I don't know if it won, I'm not 100% sure, but I've heard incredible things. I know that Gav really enjoyed this one. So on the inside it says, it's 1963 and things are changing for Jezebel Turner. Her beloved grandma has just passed away. The local police department won't stop harassing her family. With school integration arriving in South Carolina, Jez and her twin brother Jay are about to begin the school year with a bunch of new kids. But the biggest change comes when Jez and Jay turn 11 and their Uncle Doc tells them he's going to train them in root work. Jez and Jay have always been fascinated by the African-American folk magic that has been the legacy of their family for generations, especially the curious potions and powers Doc and Gran would make for the people on their island. But Jez soon finds out that her family's true power goes far beyond small charms and elixirs, and not a moment too soon, because when evil, both natural and supernatural, comes to show itself in town, it's going to take every bit of magic she has inside her to see her through. Debut author Eden Royce arrives with a wondrous story of love, bravery, friendship and family filled to the brim with magic great and small. I'm so excited about this one. I am really bummed that I didn't get a chance again to pick it up during Believe-a-thon. So hopefully in 2022, who knows. Then we have The Crown of Gilded Bones by JLA. I don't think anybody's surprised about seeing this on here. Once I'd finished Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, I wanted to pick this up immediately, and I probably should have done so. It was just that it was coming towards the end of the month and I had a new TBR set, so I didn't, and I wish I had now, because I was in the mood and I was ready and raring to go, and then I came into a fantasy slump. So I probably should have done that. This series is following Poppy, who is a maiden and essentially has to be left untouched so that she can ascend. However, it turns out that her whole life has probably been lies, and there is a new guard that is looking after her now called Hawk, and it turns out that he could tell her a little secret or two that could shed some light on exactly what she's been lied to about all her life. And things just kind of go from there. I can't tell you much more than that without spoiling things. Because the whole series is an entire fucking mystery. It's amazing and I love it. It's fantastic, but I am so looking forward to getting into this one. I'm also a little bit nervous. I'm very intimidated by this book on the basis that I've heard not great things. Not everybody has loved the ending to this series, but I am looking forward to getting to it so that I can move on to the next like second trilogy in the whole series, which is Shadow in the Ember, which is actually a Kingdom of Flesh and Fire novel, sorry. So I don't know who we're following from a Kingdom of Flesh and Fire specifically in that novel, but yeah, I am looking forward to get into this one so that I can finish that one off. This is the Fairy Loot editions of this book and it's absolutely stunning and I love it a whole lot. That is underneath the dust jacket, and yeah, really want to get to that one. Then we have It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. I didn't even own this for the longest time, and then I decided to buy it. It was on my wish list for ages and I just decided to buy it, and I do wish I'd gotten to this one because I love Tessa Bailey's writing style. I love her romance books. I haven't read them all, but I have read the series Fix Her Up, Tools of Engagement, and the second one, Love Her or Lose Her, which I did unhaul because space, and also I didn't enjoy it as much as the other two, which is a shame because I have the other ones. I really wish I could keep all of the books that I enjoy. But anyway, on the back this says Tessa Bailey. On the back this says Tessa Bailey is back with a Schitt's Creek inspired rom-com about Hollywood it girl who's cut off from her wealthy family and exiled to a small Pacific Northwest beach town where she butts head with a surely sexy local who thinks she doesn't belong. Pippa is fashionable and influential, and her reputation as a wild child means the paparazzi are constantly on her heels. When too much champagne and an out-of-control rooftop party lands Pippa in the slammer, her stepfather decides enough is enough, so he cuts her off and sends her and her sister to learn some responsibility running their late father's dive bar in Westport, Washington. Pippa hasn't even been... It's Piper, not Pippa. Piper. Piper hasn't even been in Westport 5 minutes when she meets big bearded sea captain Brendan Taggart. Oh my god, I'm already obsessed. Why have I not picked this book up? who thinks she won't last a week outside of Beverly Hills. So what if Piper can't do math and the idea of sleeping in a shabby apartment with bunk beds gives her hives? How bad could it really be? She's determined to show her stepfather and the hot grumpy local that she's more than just a pretty face. Everyone is except it's a small town, and everywhere she turns she bumps into Brendan. The fun-loving socialite and the gruff fisherman are polar opposites, but there's an undeniable attraction simmering between them. Piper doesn't want any distractions except feelings for a man who sails off into the sunset for weeks at a time. Yet as she reconnects with her past and begins to feel at home at Westport, Piper starts to wonder if the cold glamorous life she knew is what she truly wants. LA is calling her name, but Brendan and this town full of memories may have already caught her heart. How have I not picked this up yet already? I am so mad at myself. My issue entirely. Another romance is Just Haven't Met You Yet by Sophie Cousins. This was sent to me by the publishers, so thank you to them for sending me this one. I am so sorry I did not get to this one in time. My apologies, but I would recommend picking this up anyway. If it's anything like her first book, you're gonna love it. It's fantastic. I don't even... Is there a synopsis on the inside? Oh yeah. Awesome. The first book that she wrote, her debut novel, was This Time Next Year, and it was just fantastic. It still lives in my head rent free. I think it was awesome. So tell me the story of how you two met. Laura has built a career out of interviewing people about their epic real life love stories. When she picks up the wrong suitcase at the airport, Laura wonders if this could be the start of something that's written in the stars. From piano sheet music to a battered copy of her favourite book, Laura finds the bag of evidence, everything she could hope for in a partner. If Laura's job has taught her anything, it's that when it comes to love, you can't let an opportunity pass you by. Now Laura is determined to track down the owner of the suitcase and her own happy ending. But what if fate has other ideas? Yet again, I am freaking mad that I have not picked this up. Every time I do this, I read the synopsis, I get really excited. I put the book down for months on end. Then I come back to it, read the synopsis again, and I'm like, oh my god, what is wrong with me? Especially on romance. I think I'm gonna have to come to the conclusion that romance definitely is my favourite genre of all time. I have always kind of been on the fence with it, whether it's fantasy or romance or even sci-fi, but it's definitely romance. I never get this excited about a fantasy or a sci-fi. It's very rare you see me this excited. Very mad about the fact that I have not picked this one up, but you know, that's what this video is all about, holding me accountable. Next we have Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is another one I wish I'd picked up and didn't. Let's see how mad I get about this one, eh? Malibu, August 1983. In the days of Nina Riviera's annual end of summer party, and anticipation is at a fever pitch. Everyone who's anyone wants an invite to catch a glimpse of the famous Riviera siblings. Nina, the talented surfer and supermodel. Brothers Jay and Hud, one a championship surfer, the other a renowned photographer, and their adored baby sister Kit. Together the siblings are a source of fascination in Malibu and the world over, especially as the children of the legendary singer Mick Riviera. By midnight, the party will become completely out of control. By morning, the Riviera mansion will have gone up in flames. But ahead of that first spark in the early hours before the dawn, the alcohol will flow, the music will play, and the loves and secrets that shape the family will come bubbling to the surface. I really do want to read this one because I remember that Mick Riviera is one of the characters from Daisy Jones and the Six, and I really loved that book. So I am really interested in this one. Again, not overly excited as I was about Just Haven't Met You Yet or It Happened One Summer, but I am really excited about this one, and I'm bummed I didn't pick it up this year. So fingers crossed I do get to it in the year of 2022. Then we have Kingdom of the Cursed by Kerry Maniscalco. I have started this book, which frustrates me even more. I have gotten 103 pages into this book. I've not even like a little bit started it. I've like 100 pages in to Kingdom of the Cursed by Kerry Maniscalco. By the time I'm reading this, there's still 2 weeks of the year left. I could still pick it up, but I doubt I'm going to get to it and finish it. So it's going on this list regardless. But yeah, Kingdom of the Cursed by Kerry Maniscalco. In the first book, we are following sisters Amelia and Victoria. And one day, Victoria goes missing. And Amelia is incredibly concerned about where her sister's gone. After a day or so, she ends up finding her body, and it turns out Victoria is dead, and Amelia would like to figure out what the hell happened. There is dark magic in here. Amelia ends up summoning one of the princes of hell, and it is Prince Wrath. and she ends up using him and asking him if he will help her try and figure out what happened to her sister and how she died and who did it. And it turns out Prince Wrath has his own little agenda with Amelia, so he decides to help her out, and then this is continuing that on. This is a lot more steamier than Kingdom of the Wicked, but so far really enjoying it. I just really need to get back to it. So yeah, pretty mad that although I have started it, I have not finished this in the year of 2021. It could still happen, but it's very unlikely because I still have a lot of reads I want to get to on my TBR before 2021 ends. So we'll see, but it's going on this list regardless. It is what it is. Then we have To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. This is an incredibly large book, and I was incredibly intimidated by it because I haven't read a book this big that's a sci-fi before, other than like the Illuminae files, but I had those in paperback. So they were a lot smaller. I now have them in hardback. They are the size of this, but I now have them in hardback, and I know the paper's dead thick on those, so there's not even that many pages in them, and the words on the page aren't that many, whereas this, you know, the paper's not that thick. There is a lot of pages in here, 878 to be exact, and it's incredibly large. I am so excited about picking it up though. I really do want to get to it. This is definitely on my priority TBR. I'm fairly certain I put it on there. If I didn't, I'm an idiot and I need punch in the face immediately. But I'm fairly certain it's on there. So the synopsis for this is: Kira Navarez dreamed of life on new worlds. Now she's awakened a nightmare. During a routine survey mission on an uncolonized planet, that's a struggle, uncolonized planet, Kira finds an alien relic. At first she's delighted, but elation turns to terror when the ancient dust around her begins to move. As war erupts among the stars, Kira is launched into a galaxy-spanning odyssey, a discovery and transformation. First contact isn't at all what she imagined, and events push her to the very limits of what it means to be human. While Kira faces her own horrors, Earth and its colonies stand upon the brink of annihilation. Now Kira must be humanity's greatest and final hope. I'm really looking forward to this one. I am so mad I didn't get to it, to be fair, because I've heard incredible things as well, so hopefully 2022 will be the year. Then we have another sci-fi, and that is Aurora's End by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. I was gonna say Laini Taylor, what the fuck? Why? Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is the third and final book in the Aurora Cycle series, and I have really enjoyed that series by Jay and Amy. Obviously I love the Illuminae files. It's one of my favourite sci-fi series of all time. In fact, it is my favourite sci-fi series of all time. My favourite sci-fi book is The Martian, but I really have enjoyed the series so far. So this follows a squad of young adults, basically. We are following them in the first book where the young lad, let me try and remember, Tyler. We're following Tyler specifically, who is going to be like he's one of the cadets, but he's going to be the leader of his squad. And on the day that he is getting the chance to pick his squad mates, he goes out on a bit of a run in the ship just to clear his head a little bit, and he comes across an SOS and ends up finding this ship where all the cryopods, everybody in the cryopods is dead except for one. He brings her back to the place where they all live, and it turns out her name is Aurora, and she has been on that ship for about 200 years, I think it is. But she doesn't believe that. She's telling stories of the fact that they were on their way to go to this other planet. She was supposed to be going and seeing her family, etc, etc. But all of this information has been wiped. Like nobody, it's not real information. Nobody knows what she's talking about. So as it turns out, Tyler then ends up with a bunch of basically, you know, scraping the bottom of the barrel for his team because he missed out on picking his own team. He ends up with his sister Scarlet. He ends up with Zila, Finn, and also someone else whose name I entirely cannot remember, and Cal as well. And then he ends up with Aurora, who is the girl that he's found. She ends up sneaking on his ship, and they end up going on missions, and things end up happening. I have loved this series so far. It's really good. I just love the team in general, I love Squad 312. If you are one of my patrons, you will know that that's one of my Patreon tiers, and I love the different types of personalities that we've got. I love that there are different people within this as well, different species. So I just really enjoy it, and I just really enjoy the representation in here as well. It's fantastic. There is queer rep, there is disability rep, there is all different kinds of rep. It's really great, and I really enjoy it, and I can't wait to continue. And I love the fact that they write from each of the different characters, and it's not like it's boring and mundane. Each of the different characters does have a different personality, and if you're going to pick this series up, I would recommend the audiobooks as well, because they're a full cast. So again, each of the different characters has a different person doing the narration, which is very similar to the Illuminae files. So again, I would recommend that too. But yeah, gutted I didn't get to this one this year, but it's one of the books that I really do want to pick up very early on next year, to be honest, because it will finish a series out for me as well. So yeah, Aurora's End. Second to last book is The Mask Falling by Samantha Shannon, which is the 4th book in the Bone Season series. This series is going to have, oh my god, I cannot remember, 6, 7, maybe 8 books in it, I've no idea, and they're slowly but surely coming out. So I did binge The Bone Season, The My Modern, Song Rising. Then this came out and I kind of slowed down. Did I even binge those at the beginning of this year? Or did I start them at the end of last year? I can't remember. It really doesn't matter. But I binged the first 3 books in the series. Then this came out this year, and I just didn't pick it up because I know that it's going to be a while before we get the next one, and that isn't even in the end. So I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to pick this one up, but I really do want to get to it. Part of me is like, do I just wait for all of them to come out and then I'll reread the first 3 and then read the rest? Or do I just continue to read it as the books are coming out and just make notes so that I can keep up with where I was up to and what's been going on? It's hard work, but either way, we are following a young girl called Paige Mahoney in this series, and this is a series essentially following clairvoyance in London, where clairvoyancy is actually illegal, and she ends up kind of getting herself in a bit of bother by using her clairvoyant skills. She's a dream walker. One day gets herself in a bit of bother, and things just kind of go from there. It's hard to describe this series without giving away too much information and spoilers, but I'm really loving it so far. I've really enjoyed the series to date, and I do want to continue with it. So I do think I want to pick this up. I am gutted I haven't picked it up this year, but I think I'm going to pick it up next year and just kind of do it in that way. Maybe make notes as I'm going, and then I can come back to my notes when the next book comes out, rather than having to reread them all constantly. We'll see, but I do want to pick this up and continue on with the series. It's not a small book. It does have quite a few pages in it. That's usually how a book works, but it has a glossary and some more stuff at the back. What is this necessary? It's almost 500 pages anyway. The actual story ends on page, do we have a page? 466. All of that's kind of like glossary and a note on the language, etc. The audiobooks for this are fantastic as well. The narrator, she's great. She actually gives Paige Mahoney an Irish, well, she's got an Irish twang, I think, to her accent anyway, but she gives Paige like this really nice Irish twang, and I love it. So yeah, because Paige is from Ireland originally. So The Mask Falling, and then for my final book I do have Flashfire by TJ Klune, which is the second in the Extraordinary series, which is a queer YA series about superheroes and villains, and it's really good. I really did enjoy the Extraordinaries last year when I got a chance to read it. I actually got an early copy from the publishers because I was on a tour for it, so I am mad that I haven't picked this up because I was really looking forward to it. But again, I think there's a 3rd one coming out in the series, so part of me is like, do I just wait till the 3rd one comes out and then I can read them all together? I'm not sure. But yeah, this follows Nick, who has an obsession with this superhero called, no I can't, he's got an obsession with a superhero. He writes fan fiction about him and this superhero all the freaking time, and it turns out that things may not be as they seem in his life, and you know, there's stuff going on, and it's just really good. I love Nick and his friends, relationships. I love his relationship with his dad. His dad's awesome. His dad's a cop, but he has this really, really open, really great relationship with his dad. So I just really, really love it, and I'm obsessed. So I am really looking forward to picking this one up. I am bummed that I didn't get a chance to do so in 2021. I nearly said February. What the fuck has February got to do with anything in 2021? But I am hoping to do so in 2022. In fact, I need to check up on when the next one comes out. I should probably get that pre-ordered if you can pre-order it now, but I might wait until the next one comes out and then read them together, reread Extraordinaries and read the whole thing maybe. But yeah, those are the 15 books that I wish I'd gotten to in 2021. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these and what were your thoughts. Should I prioritize any of them? I just know that these are like the 2 that I'm most excited about, to be fair, on this list. I shouldn't have favorites, but my reactions for both of these when I reread the synopses, obviously I am the most excited about those, but I'm excited about all of these books, and I hope that I do get a chance to pick them all up next year. Fingers crossed that that's the case. I have all of these lists of books that I want to pick up next year. At this rate, I'm not going to have an actual TBR because I've already fucking set it. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these or there's any of them you're anticipating like me. This is almost like, actually, the 2021 books I wish I picked up in 2021, like those releases, but also an anticipated list a little bit as well, because I am anticipating all of these. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Chat to me. If you got to the end of this video, you don't want to chat to me in the comments down below, but you want to let me know you were here, leave a B emoji. Why not? Leave me a B in the comments down below, and I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye for now.